Elton Logan stopped counting the days a long time ago. Instead, he now counts the years. First it's 2, then 3, 5, 10, 20, 25 years. Elton Logan has been in prison for more than a quarter of a century. Not a single day has passed during this time that he has wavered from his unwavering claim that he is innocent. Yet the court has definitively convicted him of murder. 3 witnesses have confirmed that they saw exactly how Elton Logan took someone's life. 2 other men know the truth. They have known the truth for just as long as Elton Logan has been in prison. And it will take more than a quarter century before the men can reveal their secret. Lloyd Wycliffe works at the Cook County Department of Corrections, one of the largest prisons in the U.S. You may even have come across the Cook County Jail during a movie or TV night as the setting for the musical Chicago, which won the Oscar for Best Picture in the early 2000s. Today's Cook County Department of Corrections appears in shows like Chicago Fire and Better Call Saul. Of course, the early 80s are a long way off. But as notorious as the prison is in media history, Lloyd Wycliffe certainly experiences quite a bit there as a guard. After all, he spends his workdays with serious criminals, so a little professional variety comes in handy. On January 11th, 1982, he has a shift working as an undercover security guard at a McDonald's in Chicago. And you'd think that for someone who usually keeps an eye on murderers, a shift at McDonald's would be a downright relaxing side gig. But it is this very side job that will cost Lloyd Wycliffe his life. He is supposed to be guarding the store that evening, together with his colleague, Elvin Thompson. Actually, the 2 security guards have every reason to expect a relaxed shift. Instead, everything turns out quite differently. Lloyd and Elvin are sitting at their usual posts. From there, they have a clear view of the order counter and can observe both the customers and the staff behind the counter. Shortly after 8 p.m., a problem seems to arise. One of the cashiers gets into a heated argument with a customer. The cashier waves Lloyd and Elvin over so they can come to her aid. But before they can get there, the restaurant door is flung open. A second man comes in and starts screaming. Before Elvin and Lloyd can react, the man pulls out a gun and fires directly into Lloyd's chest. It all happens incredibly fast. The man who was just arguing with the cashier also pulls out a gun and points it at Elvin. Elvin manages to turn away just in time as he is also shot at. The bullet only grazes his arm. After shooting Elvin Thompson, the 2 men flee the McDonald's. Apparently, they had planned to rob the restaurant, but failed. Instead, they left 1 person dead and another injured. And all of this without even making off with any loot. While Elvin Thompson survives with injuries, for Lloyd Wycliffe, any help comes too late. He dies of his injuries at the scene, and his death marks the beginning of another man's nightmare. A few weeks after Lloyd Wycliffe's murder, arrests are made. Edgar Hope Jr. is actually arrested in connection with a different murder. He is suspected of killing a police officer. During a lineup, witnesses who were present during the McDonald's robbery are asked to see if they recognize him and whether he might also be responsible for the murder of the security guard. As a previously convicted felon, he fits the profile of the perpetrator. And indeed, 3 witnesses are certain that Edgar is one of the 2 perpetrators. They identify another man, Elton Logan, as his accomplice. It is unclear exactly how the police arrived at Elton Logan. However, they are certain they have quickly solved the McDonald's murder. Edgar Hope Jr. and Elton Logan acted in concert and therefore belong in court. During the trial, the two were identified once again by three witnesses: Elvin Thompson, who survived the robbery himself, and Antoinette Dawson and Charles Trent, who both worked at the McDonald's location and witnessed the robbery. The three unanimously identify Edgar Hope as the man who was the first to enter the restaurant and started the altercation with the cashier, and Elton Logan as the man who arrived later and ultimately shot Lloyd Wycliffe. The problem is, the three witnesses are correct with only one of these two identifications. Elton Logan insists he is innocent, and his lawyers sincerely believe him. More than that, they know it, and yet they say nothing. As is always the case with lawyers, there is not just one client, but several, especially for public defenders like Coventry and Coons. At the time, the two were representing Elton Logan, who was charged with the murder of Lloyd Wycliffe. At the same time, however, they are also representing a man named Andrew Wilson in another case, and he is in even deeper trouble than Elton Logan. While Logan is accused of one murder, Andrew Wilson is alleged to have killed two police officers. He admits this to his lawyers as well. And there's more. Andrew Wilson is not just a double murderer. He has killed three people, including Lloyd Wycliffe. So it really wasn't Elton Logan who was involved in the robbery in January 1982, but Andrew Wilson. This is now a rather curious situation for the lawyers. There is client A, Elton Logan, who is accused of the McDonald's murder, which he did not commit. And coincidentally, those very same lawyers also have client B, who is accused of two other murders that he actually committed, except that the justice system hasn't caught on to him regarding the third murder. Instead, this murder is pinned on client A, who really has nothing to do with the matter. Andrew Wilson is pleased that he seems to have gotten away with the third murder. When he talks to Coventry and Coons about the matter, he chuckles and becomes downright cheerful, and he refuses to help Elton Logan. Andrew Wilson will never get out of prison anyway. With just one statement, he could save Elton Logan from ending up in jail too, even though he's innocent. But he refuses to officially confess to the McDonald's murder. Now people are thinking, well, he did confess to his lawyers. However, they can't really do anything about it. The reason is a specific legal provision in the United States: attorney-client privilege. According to the interpretation at the time, lawyers are generally prohibited from disclosing confidential client statements, not even if that means an innocent man like Elton Logan ends up behind bars. They must keep their clients' secrets. If the two were to reveal Andrew Wilson's secret, they would be violating their own rules and their duty of confidentiality. According to their interpretation, an exception would only be permissible to prevent an imminent murder, that is, to save a life, but not for crimes already committed. The lawyers are forced to watch in the courtroom as their client is sentenced. The death penalty is even on the table. Only because two jurors do not vote for the death penalty does Elton Logan escape certain death. Instead, he is sentenced to life in prison for a murder he did not commit. Incidentally, Edgar Hope Jr., who is also charged with the McDonald's murder, does in fact receive the death penalty. This is because he had already been convicted of another murder in the past. Edgar Hope also says nothing to help Elton Logan. During Edgar Hope's trial, the question naturally arises as to how he and Elton Logan even knew each other. But Hope consistently exercises his right to remain silent. Instead, his mother testifies. She tells the court she has never seen Elton Logan with her son. Logan also says he has never seen Edgar Hope in his life. At the time of the McDonald's murder, he claims he was at home. His mother and brother confirm this alibi. But that apparently isn't enough for the court. Elton Logan is convicted of the murder of Lloyd Wycliffe and must go to prison at the age of 28. It is unlikely he will ever be released. According to their own statements, the lawyers are looking for a loophole in the legal situation to somehow get Elton Logan out of jail, but they simply can't find one. They can't even leak anything in the hope that the leak will then be brought to the attention of the prosecution, because all the two have is Wilson's confession. Everyone would know immediately where a leak came from. On top of that, they estimate that their testimony against Wilson likely wouldn't be admissible as evidence in court anyway, precisely because of the regulations. Nevertheless, Coventry and Kuntz are plagued by a guilty conscience, even though the two are no longer representing Elton Logan after the trial. Understandably, he seeks out a new lawyer who spends years trying in vain to secure a new trial for his client. In hindsight, however, the new lawyer also says that Coventry and Kuntz acted correctly in accordance with the regulations. Ultimately, his first lawyers, Coventry and Kuntz, do help Logan in a certain way. They strike a deal with Andrew Wilson. Should Andrew Wilson die before Elton Logan, Andrew Wilson agrees that after his death, it may be revealed that he is, in fact, the McDonald's killer. So on March 17, 1982, they draw up a notarized affidavit. It states, among other things, "I have received information from confidential sources that a man named Alton Logan, who was charged with the fatal shooting of Lloyd Wycliffe, is in fact not responsible for those shots." Both sign the document and hope to retrieve it from their safe soon. However, more than 2 decades will pass. Elton Logan will spend 26 years in prison. During that time, he earns his high school diploma, then takes courses in applied sciences and building maintenance. Later, he takes courses in trades, electrical installation, typing, and welding. Above all, however, Elton Logan tries not to lose his mind. Elton Logan misses out on many things, including his own mother's funeral. As his mother lay dying, he was allowed to see her just once, for 15 minutes. He had to choose between a final goodbye or attending the upcoming funeral. He chose the former. His mother believed in Elton Logan's innocence until the very end. Although her son stood before her in chains and under heavy security as a convicted murderer, his mother encouraged him on her deathbed. She promised him that the truth would one day come to light. And she was right. Because in November 2007, Andrew Wilson died. And with that, the moment lawyers Coventry and Kuntz had been waiting for decades had finally arrived. They could retrieve the sealed document from the vault and present it to Elton Logan's new attorney. And he was already working on a retrial of the case, for good reason. Because, as it turns out, Andrew Wilson could have been convicted as the McDonald's killer much earlier. It turns out that after the murder of Lloyd Wycliffe, the police found a bullet casing at the crime scene. And just 6 days after the murder, on January 17, 1981, this casing was matched to a gun that had been confiscated from Andrew Wilson. However, this detail was never disclosed to attorneys Coventry and Kuntz. Now, 26 years later, these findings are presented alongside the testimony of Coventry and Kuntz, and they are sufficient to initially release Elton Logan on probation. In September 2008, the charges against Elton Logan are finally officially dropped in a court hearing. The judge concludes the hearing with the following words: "Your long personal nightmare is over. Hopefully, you will live a long life as a free man." In April 2009, Elton Logan was officially declared innocent. However, he was not satisfied with that. He filed a civil rights lawsuit against the city of Chicago and several police officers. Logan accuses them of conspiring to frame him for the murder, regardless of his actual guilt or innocence. Following an out-of-court settlement, he received $10 million. That is enough for Elton Logan to live comfortably for the rest of his life. But he will never get back the 26 years that were stolen from him. And almost just as important to him, while the city of Chicago transferred the money, he has never received an apology to this day. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. It's understandable that the lawyers didn't want to break their code of ethics, but the fact that they accepted the possibility that Elton Logan might never get out of jail again is pretty harsh. Sure, you always think you would have handled it differently, but you can never really know. Still, I'm interested in your thoughts on this. And by the way, you're supporting the channel just by watching. Other than that, there isn't much more to say. I hope you're having a good morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever time you're watching this. And I hope to see you again in the next video. Until then, ciao everyone.